What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam. That is Mike. Today, we'll be diving into the free agency pool. We did a mock draft last week. We want to get into some free agency news, some stuff that might be going on there. So we're going to be diving into a kind of group by group look at what Seahawks might need to improve at this offseason. We're going to be analyzing the top 5 players at every position group that we feel, we might need to improve at. And today we're going to be starting with edge, defensive end, outside linebacker, whatever it might be.
Yep.
That's what we're going to be looking at.
You can stack the quarterback. You're going to be on this list pretty much.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to talking about the general free agency pool, because this is widely considered to be a pretty good free agent class. It's a pretty deep class, a lot of big names.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the most basic of NFL fans, Devontae Adams is a free agent this offseason.
Yeah.
So, that alone is big, So,
yep.
Mike, why don't you dive into the first honorable mentions that we have? These are guys that we thought were good, but really didn't make the list for a few reasons. So.
Yeah, these are guys that we thought were good, but there's like a but. You know what I mean? I would be happy with any of these signings, but there's a little asterisk that comes with it. I can't speak today, apparently. The first honorable mention we have is Derek Barnett. Now, some pros about Derek Barnett is A, he's young. He's only like 26. B, he probably won't cost that much. C, you know what I mean? He's shown potential in the past. But unfortunately, you look at the con, and this was kind of the reason he wasn't in the top 5 and he was just an honorable mention, was because the sack production really isn't there.
And it really never has been there, frankly.
No, 21 career sacks since, being drafted in 2017. Really not what you were looking for. I believe he was a high second-round pick from Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. Really hasn't lived up to that pedigree. But he's young. He obviously still has plenty of time to turn it around. I think he's a good athlete, obviously. But, the production just really hasn't been there. So I would be hesitant to give this guy big money until he proves that he can consistently, get after the quarterback.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, and probably because of that age, his agent is going to ask for a good amount of money.
Right.
So I would not really be super enticed to go deep on this guy. Who's the next honorable mention that we have?
Next honorable mention is we have, sorry if I mispronounced his name, but Quadeen Muhammad. Not sure if I said that correctly.
Maybe.
Quadeen, yeah. Honestly, I think this guy really flies under the radar. He's also 26 years old. You know what I mean? He's 26. He'll be 27 in 2 weeks because it's 340 days. So happy birthday in 2 weeks to you, my man. And honestly, I think this guy really flies under the radar. Last year had 6 sacks, but the years before that has only had 2 and 3 sacks. So barely had double-digit sacks in his career, which is it's fine, I guess. But I think this is a guy where you're probably not going to get double-digit sacks out of him consistently, but I think he could be a good rotational piece to add. Again, he's young, so he could still figure it out. But honestly, I don't think that this is another guy you want to give big money to, right? It's kind of like Derek Barnett. The production really isn't there as much.
But definitely more production than Derek Barnett. I would find this guy more enticing.
Right. 100%.
Than Derek Barnett as a free agent.
And
Who's
another
last honorable mention?
Well, one last thing I'll say about Muhammad is that he didn't play with as good of a defensive line, so he was kind of like the guy, with the exception of DeForest Buckner, obviously. But sometimes when you have 2 great defensive ends, you can really take off the pressure. But our last guy that I'm sure you guys are very familiar with is Jadavian Clowney. Now, I know, Jadavian Clowney, I know. But at worst, you're getting a super freak athlete as defensive end, a guy who puts fear in offensive linemen, and who at worst is a very good athlete as your pass rusher, right? That's the best way I can put it. Unfortunately, Jadavian Clowney, I think, is a lot of talk and not a lot of show. He's
an anomaly. He's a huge name. He's a first overall pick, the most touted college recruit in history.
Right.
With a literally perfect grade from 24/7 Sports.
Did you see that hit against Michigan? Like, dude, jeez.
Was absolutely dominant in college. And for some reason has just not been able to do it. in the
Now
NFL.
now with Clowney, it's a little different because he's shown flashes. There are moments from Jadavian Clowney, and Seahawks fans will remember the game against San Francisco, where it's like, this dude is the best pass rusher in the league. He's intercepting passes. He's getting TFLs. He's getting after the quarterback consistently. But unfortunately, he just hasn't done that consistently enough. Checking at Spot Rack real quick, his market value is projected to be about $12.7 million a year. That's kind of a lot of money, in my opinion, to be given to somebody who's such a big question mark. So we put him in an honorable mention. I don't think he's going to return to Seattle, but I guess we'll see. We could take all the help we can get at edge rusher. So wouldn't rule it out, to be honest.
Yeah, Clowney, obviously kind of a sensitive name in Seattle. My biggest thing with him, and I told this to Mike before we started, was that I don't feel that he's very good unless you have a really good edge rusher across from him, and because he gets double teamed because he's a respected name and he is a freak athlete and he can be really good. But
yeah,
if you're gonna get big production out of him, you need a guy to produce on the side. Maybe that could benefit a guy like Darrell Taylor, but personally, it's going to cost a lot of money, and I don't know if he gets that much production as the number one edge rusher on a team.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you a lot there. He's really, really, really hit or miss. You're either getting a superstar or you're getting somebody who is going to put up 3 sacks and get paid $50 million. So,
yeah,
like he did in 2019. Anyway, are you ready to? So those were our honorable mentions. Are you ready to kind of get into the top 5, the guys that we would like actually be really excited to sign?
And this is really in no particular order. I mean, everybody. This is just a general top 5, and it's in some relative order, but this is not like a definitive. Like, this is the worst guy that we talk about. This is the best guy we talk about.
Right.
But the range of the guys that we're going to talk about. So why don't you get right into it?
All right, so at number 5, which again is in no particular order, but at number 5, we have a guy by the name of Emmanuel Ogbah. Played for the Dolphins, 28 years old, so he's pretty young.
Good age. Young. I think was Kerry Hyder 28 when we signed him last
Kerry
year?
Hyder was 28, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
And had 9 sacks last year, so was very productive last year for the Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins had a good defense. They had good pass rush and everything like that. 28, 6 years in the league. His market value is projected to be about $10 million, which is good, which is very good. I think for a good pass rusher, $10 million is relatively good. Obviously, we don't have too much money to be given around, but $10 million I think is doable. So I can, from all the guys that we have on this list, I can see this being the most likely, to be honest. He was the 32nd overall pick. So technically he was a first round pick, but if you remember, that was the year that the Patriots got their pick taken away because of Deflategate. So he was technically a second round pick, but he was the 32nd pick, so he was also technically a first round pick. But whatever. But yeah, I mean, talented guy.
Why was there only 31 picks that year? I'm trying to remember.
Because the Patriots got their pick taken away from Deflategate, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
remember that?
I forgot they lost their pick because of
that. They lost their pick, and then Brady got suspended 3 games, something like that.
4 games, yeah.
Yeah. Came back against the Browns, absolutely killed them. I remember that. But Emmanuel Ogbah, yeah, so he's the guy there. I would be really excited to get Emmanuel Ogbah. Like I said, I think this is, if I had to put money on it, this is the most likely, I would say.
Yeah,
could really,
it seems like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, productive.
It seems like a guy who's dying to break out. It really does. It seems like a guy who's dying to have like that 13, 14 sack season. And, if he can just get on the right team, right system, have the right guys around him, he might be able to do something special. So
SpotRag estimates about $10 million a year. So would you say that a 3-year, $30 million contract is fair?
Yeah, I would say that's a warranted deal considering the contracts the DNs get, and the contracts that DNs get, and the fact that he has had 9 sacks back-to-back years. It's not like it's a fluke, random 9 sack season. No, he's done it before. He's proven that he can do it consistently. I think he actually had not the same amount of sacks on less snaps this year. So that in general should be a good sign. So yeah, I would definitely be down to sign Emmanuel Ogbah for 3 years, 30.
So Emmanuel Ogbah for 3 years for 30 million. That sounds like a really good deal. At number 4, we have a guy that I think not many people have heard of, but I think he's underrated and he's kind of a gem player, which I think could be really, really good. A guy by the name of Charles Harris. He is 27 years old. So again, relatively young. Played for the Lions last year. And I know you're saying, oh, Lions, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, he had 7.5 sacks. And that was because, Trey Flowers went down with injury. He got his opportunity. He stepped up. Obviously, the Lions were not a good team last year, but 7.5 sacks, that's pretty good production. So I would totally be down for Charles Harris. Again, checking in on his market value. Really, they calculate his market value to be about $8.6 million a year. So while he's not as provenly consistent as Emmanuel Ogbah would be, he's about $2.5 million cheaper. Wait, math. He's about $1.5 million cheaper a year. Sorry, guys, I am disgusting at math. So, you could see it like that. I think Charles Harris again could be a type of guy who's been kind of hidden on the Lions. Wouldn't be the first time we took a player hidden from the Lions and they turned out to be a stud, Quandre Diggs. Please resign Quandre, please. Anyway, I like Charles Harris a lot. Obviously, I'm gonna let Sam talk. I don't want to just intrude, but what do you kind of think about Charles Harris?
This seems like an incredibly Seahawky move to make. A guy who is a former first-round pick, goes around the league, kind of gets his opportunity somewhere else. He was drafted by Miami, out of Missouri, and then went to Atlanta. The only reason why I know he went to Atlanta is because my brother's a Falcons fan, and then went from there to Detroit, where he has this breakout year. And former first-round pick. This has Kerry Hyder written all over it to me.
Yeah,
a guy who has a great year, mainly because the guy ahead of him gets hurt.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. So I would be cautious, especially with that price tag that they put on him. I would not sign him for that price.
Yeah. Another note here, another encouraging note is the highest amount of snaps he ever played in his career before this year was 47.5, right? That was his rookie year. He put up 2 sacks, which is, not good.
Yeah.
But this year, he took 81% of the snaps. So his only time seeing significant snaps was when he had 7.5 sacks. So maybe something to just throw out there. So I'm thinking for a guy like Charles Harris, he's going to want something in the, probably, you think 4 years, $35 million range? That's probably around something he would like.
Yeah,
I would be hesitant.
That seems really expensive for a guy who hasn't done it before. You know what I mean?
I would be very, very cautious with a guy like Charles Harris, just because you don't know. At least with Emmanuel Ogbah, you kind of know what you're getting. You're getting a 8-9 sack a year type of guy. Charles Harris, you really don't know. So I don't know. However, like you said, this does have flashes of Kerry Hyder. So I think for that reason, the Seahawks like to bring in those type of guys. So I think that
it makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense. Like sure.
I think if he's sitting around a free agency after the first week or two and he's willing to go to like that $4 million, this could be a move that could literally easily happen. It makes a lot of sense for Seahawks.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's take a look at a guy who now I think these big three are kind of like the 3 big names on the edge rusher market.
The golden
These are the cream de la crop for my French speakers out there.
Creme de la creme. You mixed creme de la creme with cream of the crop. All right.
Anyway. Then I added to my French speakers out
there.
Okay. This is why I talk about the Seahawks and don't teach French class. Anyway.
Yeah, to my French speakers out there. Who speaks French in the audience? Raise your hand. To my French speakers, he is the cream of the creme.
Cream of the creme. Anyway. We got a guy.
If we ever make merch, that needs to be a piece of merch. The cream of the creme. No, it's not the cream de la creme. It's the cream of the creme. That's so great. All right, let's go.
That's a clip and a half right there. Anyway, moving on. We got a guy by the name of Hassan Reddick. Now, Hassan Reddick, the past 2 seasons, has 23 and a half sacks. 11 this year, 12 and a half last year. Both years, he's kind of been around that 79% snap mark. So clearly a guy who is going to want a lot of money. He's 27 years old. When you look at his market value, I mean, this is going to be expensive. We're looking at about $15 million a year. So
yeah,
he is what I would consider
it's expensive
so far of the guys we've talked about so far. I think he is probably the only game wrecker. Would you say? I think he's the guy. He's an elite edge presence, is what I would call him.
Yeah, he's finally earning some respect around the league. It seems like. Yeah,
so he's a guy, and this is the type of guy that we got to bring in for sure. $15 million is a lot. Don't get me wrong.
It's a lot, but it's warranted.
Yeah, edge rusher is like the quarterback of defense, where it's like you got it.
The guys that you're gonna be paying a lot of money for. You're always gonna pay a lot of money for the quarterback, the wide receivers, the blind side tackles.
Yeah,
not right tackles, left tackles. You're
left or a lot of money right tackle for Tua. Yeah. Well, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and then
edge rushers.
You're talking edge rusher,
corner.
You're talking corner. Even middle linebackers are not the guys that get paid the big time bucks.
No,
because despite the fact that they're arguably the most important position, they're not the sexiest position.
Right. So Hassan Reddick, $15 million. Right, we're getting a guy who's going to have these last couple of years. He's averaging 12 sacks a year, pretty much. $15 million is a lot. So given his age being 27, given his value being about $15 million a year, what deal would you be comfortable calling up Hassan Reddick's agent and giving him to try to get him to the Seahawks?
I think I'd be comfortable staying in that $13 to $15 million range, given the production that he's had, given his age. I mean, if you're the Seahawks and you want to make this move, this is a day one splash kind of move. This is a guy who you have your eyes on the entire time leading up to free agency, and then when that negotiating period hits, you hit him with the deal.
Yep.
That's if you really like him. This is not a guy who's second or third on your list as a free agent that you want to sign. You don't go out and you sign two free agents before you sign this guy.
Right.
If you want this guy, it's a guy that he's going to be the splash move of your off season, and that's where it really comes into play as an interesting potential move for the Seahawks.
Yeah. So again, keeping with his annual average, would you, if Quandre's agent said we'll come for 3 years, $45 million, are you signing that?
You mean for Hassan Reddick?
For Hassan Reddick, 3 years, $45 million.
Yeah. I think I would. I mean, it's a lot of money, but for a guy who's going to be putting up 11 to 12 sacks, which is shown to be a consistent area for him now.
Right.
If you give him the reps and you give him the snaps, and this could also benefit a guy like Darrell Taylor across from him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a guy who has outside linebacker flexibility.
Right.
So if you want to drop him back, you can drop him back. If you want to, Clint said we're going to be running a lot of 3-4 this year. It seems like that hybrid edge D-end presence.
I was just about to say,
fit the Seahawks, like a Khalil Mack type, because when Khalil Mack was on the Bears, he would drop back a good amount of the time.
Yeah.
When he was good.
When Hurt and Desai and all them were on the Bears.
But when Vic Fangio was running that defense.
Right. Yeah.
I dropped back a lot.
I was about to say the same thing. And you look at a guy like Hassan Reddick. He's very fast. He's agile. I think he could cover very well. So I think I would like very much to give Hassan Reddick 3 years, $45 million. However, to me at least, it doesn't seem like a move the Seahawks would make, because the Seahawks typically don't go for the top dogs.
I think that might change this offseason.
I hope you're right. No,
last year we saw some of it, because I heard that we were bidding as much as we can for Joe Thuney. We were bidding as much as we can, or as much as we could. But I think this year it might change.
Right.
Finally,
traditionally, The Seahawks have been
traditionally, but finally that fire being set under them of we lost. The owner had a long meeting with us that was different than the meetings we've had before.
Yeah.
We retooled the entire defense. This is the time where we got to go out. We have a lot of money. We have a quarterback who is possibly unhappy. This is the time to go out and make a move.
Yeah, I think if there was a year to just go out and just open up the wallet and just
and
writing checks like a madman.
That's not an edge, and like we said, there's gonna be two guys who are talking about after this, who are open up the wallet kind of names.
Write down a number, we'll sign a check. Yeah.
So I mean, but this is a loaded class with a lot of good defensive players in it, and it's a class that I could see the Seahawks. This is a really deep group, and I could see it being a kind of group that the Seahawks open up their wallet for and just kind of spend money. And we've talked about how that's not a Seahawk thing, but you never know.
Yeah, they're more of a value. They're more of a quantity over quality type of team, but hopefully this changes. Hopefully they, rebrand. We've already seen a lot of that in the offseason. They've brought in guys that they normally wouldn't have brought in. Like, truthfully speaking, I did not think they were going to bring in like Sean Desai, but they did. That was very encouraging. So, and similarly speaking, this is just for the list in general, right? Thinking about our defense, like we mentioned, Clint Hurt and Sean Desai are Vic Fangio disciples. Vic Fangio, the way his defense works is you got to have dominant edge rushers, right? Had it in Chicago with Khalil Mack, had it when he was in San Francisco with Aldon Smith, Justin Smith. So his defensive philosophy really is heavily reliant on dominant edge presences. I think Darrell Taylor isn't dominant yet, but I think he can be. He
just needs the development.
He showed a lot of flash last year, and I think if we can pair him with a guy who has proven that he can do it, like a Hassan Reddick or the other two guys on this list, then I think our defense can reach new heights, which would be amazing. So Hassan Reddick, that's the guy. Now I think these top two are in a tier of themselves.
The cha-ching.
The cha-ching.
This is the kind of thing where it's if we sign this person, it's preceded by a breaking.
Yeah, 100%.
Headline. These are the two guys.
100%. This is the type of move that will be talked about for years and years and years, regardless of the outcome. So at number 2, we have Von Miller, the guy who just came over midseason to the Rams, helped them in great parts win a Super Bowl. I was looking at his stats and his grades. He was very highly graded in the playoffs. Like, he was amazing in the playoffs. Harassed Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl. So
another guy who can play in that 3-4 and drop back. He played under Vic Fangio.
Yep. Played literally played under Vic Fangio last couple of seasons. So
that would be an attractive.
Looking at a guy like Von Miller, right? I think the only downside is his age. He's 32, which is not ideal. But if you look at his sack production, I mean, these are legitimately Hall of Fame numbers. 8.5 sacks this year. Missed last year because he was hurt. 8 sacks, 14.5, 10, 12.5, 11, 13.5, 18.5, 11.5. Like, this guy is a dog. He knows
Hall of Famer. First ballot
Hall of Famer. Absolutely. He knows how to get after the quarterback. The age is an issue. Granted, 32 is not ideal. So his market value suffers because of that. However, if we're looking at a two-year deal,
hell, even a 3-year deal.
3-year deal, $10 million a year, assuming he doesn't drop off dramatically or get hurt, that's a steal for Von Miller. That's an absolute steal. So Von Miller's market is projected to be about $10 million a year, like we said. This is a guy, I mean, man, you really got to consider the age here, but it's Von Miller. Worst case scenario, like literally worst case scenario, you are getting a Hall of Famer to help coach your other defensive linemen. Similarly, to, like, literally worst case scenario is what happened with Adrian Peterson last year to Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson really didn't play that much, played like one game, ended up just being a coach to Rashad Penny. Having that guy who is a Hall of Famer, who as a veteran, knows the
very
ins and outs of the
similar
game.
to Daryl Taylor, by the way.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
similar. To
very
Daryl
similar.
Taylor.
Bendy, really long arms, rangy,
fast.
Yep.
For a DN,
Explosive.
they're both very fast, explosive.
Yeah,
Have a mix of bull rush and and speed.
Yeah. The bend also, I think, is really, really. You want to talk about?
I'm a little funky on this one.
Yeah, me too.
Like, it's weird because we know what he can be,
right?
But I feel like at this point, with his age, he's been hurt recently. I think he's had 2 major injuries. Last year he tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
Or I mean, the year before last year he tore his Achilles, but I think he also like tore his ACL one time. Or am I fantasizing about that, or did he tear?
I'm not. I don't remember. Let me check.
I swear I heard something about that.
In 2013, he only played. So he consistently plays about. I'd say if you average out about 85% of snaps. In 2013, he only played 48, so he probably did have an injury.
Yeah. So in 2013, he tore his ACL.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was a while ago, granted, but he oh, that's why he wasn't in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Wait, who won that Super Bowl?
Made the 30-point swing in favor of the Broncos.
I don't remember who won the Super Bowl in 2013.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Von Miller would obviously be an attractive name. We'd be prying him away from a division rival. I don't think he makes a lot of sense for this team.
I don't either.
I think he's older, and I feel like his best years are clearly behind him. And I feel like he much more benefits having another guy who's really good on that D line, like a Aaron Donald, at this point in his career to help him.
Yeah. I really see him re-signing.
Tackle and halfback attention. I don't see why he would leave the Rams. It'd probably take a lot of money to get him to leave the Rams. At that point, you just got to wonder, why would you want to pay him all that money for a guy who you're not sure if he's going to be that productive?
No, and that's a good point. I think, looking at his value, a fair contract would be like 2 years, 20. I'm sure the Rams are going to give him that. So then we would have to give him 230.
2 years, 25.
Yeah, 2 years, 25, 2 years, 30. Then we're overpaying for a 32-year-old. You know what I mean? That becomes very dangerous territory. So I'm not sure. But then again, it would be the type of thing where if they did it, if they signed Von Miller, every Seahawks fan would convince themselves that they just signed like prime Lawrence Taylor. You know what I mean? We'd be like, oh my God, we got Von Miller. Game over.
It just seems like a really unnecessary move, especially when you look at some of the other guys in general who are in this group, not only on the edge, because as seen in previous years, you can get edge rushers who have really good years out of nowhere on cheap contracts.
Yes.
So it's not like a group that you need to go out and splurge on guaranteed to make it a great group. There's one guy in this class who I was going to name drop him, even though he doesn't play edge, who I really like. And I would be very comfortable blowing the absolute bank vault door.
Are we thinking of the same guy?
Blowing it off.
You want to say that on 3?
What number does he wear?
27.
Yeah, J.C. Jackson.
Let's go.
I would. And he said that he thinks that the Patriots don't appreciate him.
Well, the Patriots, they don't give out big contracts to guys. That has been an issue with Bill Belichick his whole career. Stephon Gilmore didn't get the big contract. I would be willing
to give him $20 million a year. In all honesty,
I would give him a lot of money. It
seems like his current market projection is like 17.5 right now. I would be willing to absolutely explode the.
You think 480? You think we give him like 4? I'd give him 480.
I think I'd give him 480. Hell, I'd give him 500.
Sheesh. Damn. Yeah. So maybe that's the next video. Spoiler for the next video, possibly. But we are blowing our bank. Blow your back. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. That's another clip. Oh, God.
Hey,
we are blowing our bank.
Everybody get ready for Pete Carroll to blow his back out.
Oh.
All right.
Anyway, back to my list of edge rushers.
I would not sign Von Miller.
What?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't sign Von Miller.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's just age,
this next guy I would consider signing. And this guy I would not consider signing.
Okay, so our number one guy, our number one edge rusher on the free agent market that the Seahawks could, should, maybe will target is Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones.
Another
The
divisional
Seahawk
opponent.
destroyer
The
himself.
Seahawk killer. I mean, if we sign Chandler Jones, that would be like equivalent to like Superman purchasing loads of kryptonite. You know what I mean? Just get him off the streets. He is an absolute menace. So Chandler Jones, his age is 31 years old. Again, not ideal. Not ideal to be 30 plus. But look at his sack production, man. 10.5. Last year was hurt, only had 1. That's fine. 19, 13, 17, 11, 12.5. I mean, this guy is a bona fide stud. Bona fide stud.
Literally the best in the business.
Signing Chandler Jones would accomplish 3 things. A, it would make our pass rush better. W. B, would make our opponent worse.
Didn't he have like 6 sacks in a game against us a year, like 2 years back in CenturyLink?
Oh, dude, it was bad. I think
I'm trying to look up. It was 2019. I'm trying to look up Seahawks Cardinals 2019. You can talk about this real quick.
He is a Seahawks killer. So A, it would help our pass rush. B, it would hurt the Cardinals, our division rival. And C, it would help our offense because Chandler Jones wouldn't be sacking Russell Wilson minimum 2 times a game.
Chandler Jones in 2019, we lost 27-13. He had 4 sacks at CenturyLink. And then Russ had a bad game. So
you're accomplishing 3 big things by signing Chandler Jones. So his market value is looking at about $14.5 million. Cha-ching. And issue I've seen with Chandler Jones that I think is the issue with why he hasn't re-signed with the Cardinals is that he wants a longer-term deal, right? He wants security. He knows he's older.
And he felt that the Cardinals did not give him that as well, which is also notable.
Do you remember beginning of last year, like training camp-ish, he was threatening to like hold out and like, you know,
we
all
did a
that.
Video.
Yeah, we did a video about that. Should Chandler Jones come to Seattle? Yeah, I remember that. Damn, dude, we've been doing this for almost a year now. That's crazy. Anyway,
we've been doing it from. I think we should be rolling up on the 1-year anniversary soon.
I'll check when the first video is posted. We should do some special.
Last season. Yeah,
we should do some special for the 1-year anniversary.
We'll see if we can get Josh Johnson back on the podcast.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Josh,
oh my gosh,
you're out there.
Love you, Josh. Man. Josh, you're the best, bro. We still getting comments on the Josh Johnson video.
Yeah, I love Josh. Josh is so cool.
That's my guy, bro. Josh, my guy.
Video. Hopefully get 5,000 soon.
Yeah, so, my hairline is way better than it was the first time, and I actually got facial hair now. So yeah. And
anyway. I've been to California since then. So
nice. Got him, Sam.
Nice.
So I think if we're looking at Chandler Jones,
changed man.
We're looking at a type of guy who is going to get probably a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
And being it's like 15 a year, that's like 60 mil.
4 years. Ooh. Like 4 years, he probably gets like 17, 16 a year. That's a lot. It's a lot of money. But imagine, think about the smile. That I think a lot of what this offseason is going to be tied around is how do we make Russell Wilson happy? Because some reports are that while he might not demand a trade, he's like, hey, man, I kind of want to win.
Yeah. I do actually want to win another one of those Super Bowls that I won you guys 8 years ago. Yeah.
So imagine the smile it would put on his face to see the guy who is a renowned Seahawk murderer.
Killer. Yeah.
To get signed to the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
They were, and by the way, they were kind of joking around with each other at the Pro Bowl. So maybe
Russ was like 4 years, 65. Meet me in my office.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like slipping him $1 million in $100 bills, like at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. They're joking around with each other, like, hey, he pats him on the back and slips a ton of money into his pocket.
Slips like a mind control like chip. So he's like, I will sign with the Seahawks.
I will sign with the Seahawks. He gets asked, like, Chandler, how do you feel about the Pro Bowl? It's like, hey, man, it's great. I love being out here with all the Seahawks players. It's so dope. They're all my favorite. I love them all. It's like,
I love actually the city of Seattle, if I'm being honest.
I love the city of Seattle. I think Pete Carroll's a fantastic coach. I think John Schneider knows what he's doing.
You know, Sean Desai was my favorite assistant in the league, honestly, and now I think I should just go to the Seahawks.
Yeah. Ed Donatell's a whole
Yeah. All my homies hate Donatel. Ken Norton can suck it. We in Seattle. So realistically, again, we're thinking in the 460 plus range.
Expensive.
Would you do that?
Expensive range. Yes. I think I would do that.
You have to even imagine, right? Yeah. Even if he's only elite for 2 years, you just sign an elite pass rusher.
Also think about how much it pisses off Kyler Murray.
Oh, dude, 100%. Kyler Murray,
and that's already reported that they might not be on some even ground there.
Yeah. So
imagine how much that would piss off Kyler Murray to have Chandler Jones chasing him around rather than having Chandler Jones on his team. It would piss him off. Dude.
And like, can you imagine being a Rams or a 49ers fan and seeing that Chandler Jones then went to Seattle? Unbeatable. This is the type of guy who is going to get signed.
Super Bowl. I mean, I think Chandler Jones, if he signs with us, I think
he is the type of guy
to Seattle and just gives us the Lombardi.
He is the type of guy, legitimately. He is the type of guy that is a defense changer, game wrecker, game plan around this type of guy. And we don't have any of those other than Bobby Wagner, but it's really hard to scheme against. That's again what we were saying about middle linebackers. You don't really scheme against middle linebackers.
Yeah.
But like edge rushers,
you scheme against Chandler Jones. And you send all the attention his way, which
then that frees up Darrell Taylor.
For Darrell Taylor. It gives Poona Ford a one-on-one, and Poona Ford owns one-on-ones. We know that
Ford eats offensive linemen.
He literally destroys offensive linemen one-on-one. Yeah. We saw it last year. So, I mean, listen, the edge class is loaded. There's like 10 other guys who are all quality players that we did not name.
Right.
So I'm really not concerned with blowing a whole lot of cash in this area, frankly. Like, if we do, that's awesome. But I don't think it's a necessity, unlike corner or maybe tackle or maybe center. I think there it makes a lot more sense to blow the bank rather than not blowing
the bank specifically. The bank, just the bank.
Just the bank, not anything else. We're not blowing out anything else. We're only blowing out the bank.
No, and blowing up offensive linemen. We're doing that too.
Yeah. Leave your thoughts on what we talk about in the comments. We appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.